Hey everybody, I hope you're doing well. My name is Quinn the GM. Welcome back to the channel. This past week, Monsters of the Multiverse came out. I've enjoyed it quite a bit, reading through it. I really like all the updates, both to races and to monsters. And it gave me a new idea for what I now think it might be one of the best builds for a wizard in D&D 5th edition. So we're going to get into that here. It's going to be a quicker video, but I like this idea and really wanted to share it. If you like this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing. I love doing videos like this, just anything D&D. So yeah, let's jump into it. This idea would have sounded quite unconventional at the start of 5th edition, but two key changes have allowed for the idea of a Goliath wizard to be one of the most viable class race pairings in the entire game. So the first of these changes came in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything back in, I believe it was 2019. It was forever ago. That being that races are no longer locked to having a +2 in one certain stat and a +1 in another stat. They can essentially place those freely wherever they'd want. I really like this change. It allows for a lot more freedom and creativity in building characters. I think that it allows for really out there concepts like the one we're talking about now, and I think it really allows players to just get weird with it, and I really like that. Furthermore, the other change came out in Monsters of the Multiverse, which just came out, or I guess came out in January. I got the box set, which I didn't because I had the other two books and didn't need that, and I wanted to keep my money. That change being to the Goliath's Stone's Endurance ability. This ability allows them to, as a reaction, reduce damage they're taking by a d12 plus their Constitution modifier. This is great on any class, and was great back when it was in the PHB, or I believe it was in the PHB, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. And it just is great to give any class a bit of longevity. But the change in Monsters of the Multiverse that really allows it to kind of bump itself up is the fact that you can now do this rather than once per short rest, a number of times equal to a proficiency bonus per short rest. So starting at 2 and going up to 6th by 20th level. This really increases the viability and just allows you to use it a lot more often than you would be otherwise, especially considering that short rests, at least in my games, have become a bit more of a rarity, despite the number of warlocks that generally pervade those games. So why do I think this makes a wizard build so great? Wizard is very balanced by the fact that it has very high highs and very low lows. It has some of the best utility and damage potential in the game, if not the best, especially at high levels. However, the defensive side is very much lacking. Particularly, the wizard has some elements to increase their armor class, but very little to increase their hit points. They have things like mage armor or shield in order to, just as a reaction or using their spellcasting, create more protection for themselves from getting hit. But if they get hit, their hit dice is always the same. It's always a d6. They are always made of glass. There's this one meme that I always see, the thing from Aladdin, it's part of the wizard gig. It's phenomenal cosmic power, but itty-bitty hit dice. This really allows you to help circumvent that. The fact that you are still able to increase your AC with mage armor and whatnot. You'll still not have a reaction because this is a reaction. But if you are hit, you're able to expend this Stone's Endurance and just reduce the amount of damage you're taken at any given point, essentially allowing you to create more longevity and essentially give yourself extra hit dice worth of hit points to work through before they hit your actual HP. The Abjuration Wizard has an entire subclass ability centered around this. So having this as a racial feature in addition to whatever subclass you're choosing as a wizard is phenomenal. I really like it. And furthermore, it allows the wizard to just essentially be a lot more able to survive in combat, even if they get caught in melee or in a sticky situation. Furthermore, the other Goliath abilities aren't too shabby either. The ability to essentially double your carrying capacity is great for wizards who end up dumping strength and might need to consider carrying capacity if that's something your DM is very serious about, which I don't tend to be, but it's still good to have there. You also have resistance to cold damage, and resistance to any damage type is great as a wizard in order to just hopefully stay alive a little longer, especially if you're in Arctic conditions. But overall, I think that those two things combined really makes the Goliath now a great choice for wizard. Everything that I've said so far could apply to both wizards and sorcerers. Wizards just tends to be the class that I think of more often. It's the one that I've played and seen played at my table more. However, sorcerers are very similar in the department in that they have very good offensive and utility capabilities. However, they very much are poor in terms of defensive options. Overall, though, I think that it still makes the defensive kit of both of these classes a lot more desirable in both of these cases. And furthermore, I think that it allows further focus on Constitution for both of these classes in order to both increase the amount of damage this would be able to block, because it's a d12 plus your Constitution modifier, and increase their bonus for Constitution saving throws, which are quite important for concentration checks for both of these. This leads into another bonus of Stone's Endurance, particularly the ability to knock down what would be very big concentration checks by a decent margin. For those of you who don't know, concentration checks in 5th edition are essentially checks that need to be made in order to maintain a spell that a wizard or sorcerer or any spellcasting class is still concentrating on at the moment, an ongoing effect. And those DCs tend to be Constitution. They're either 10 or half of the damage you took, whichever is higher. Being able to reduce the amount of damage you took, especially if it's from a singular big hit, if you need to maintain concentration, is a fantastic boon in order to hopefully hold on to that very crucial spell a little longer. Make sure your friend is not stunned from you dropping haste or something like that, or your wall of fire does not stop going and allow your enemy through. Overall, I think that the Goliath Wizard is just a great idea in terms of both the mechanical idea and the roleplay potential. I feel like Goliaths are too often typecast as the big bruiser for whatever reason, particularly probably due to those initial racial increases in the player's handbook in earlier versions of 5th edition. But I love the idea of being able to subvert that typical expectation to the race and to the class, and I think that having them together as sort of a wise, seasoned Goliath who might be more focused on arcane spellcasting to make up for any strength that they might not possess from their body is quite interesting. Could be quite a fun character concept to explore. I know I'm going to have that on the back burner for whenever I end up making my next player character, whenever that might be, because I'm always stuck as a DM. So that was the video on my idea of a Goliath wizard build in the aftermath of Monsters of the Multiverse. Let me know what you think about this. I'd love to hear your opinion in the comments below. If you think there are any other better builds, if I could speak today, in this book, be sure to let me know in the comments. Be sure to like and subscribe as well. I do all kinds of D&D videos. I think I'll have another one up this week, actually. First time ever doing 2 uploads in a week, but I'm excited for it. Be sure to stick around if you want to see that. Subscribe, like, all that. And thank you all for joining me again today. And I hope you all have a good one. See you.